what is life? Is life suffering and misery? Yes, it is actually. That's one big realization, and that's why it's a hard one at some point to work towards when one starts to realize the truth, which is at the opposite of what one has believed all their life. And the more years spent on the regular path, the more one has built up an idea, a nice romantic idea, like in novels and books and fairy tales, about what life is. And that's why it's a hard one to turn around, to start to face reality, which is why one develops addiction to material things, so to try to create that false virtual reality as close as possible as what one has believed all those years. But yes, life actually comes together out of ignorance, and that is the basic step of evolution in Buddhist teachings, either like 8 or 10 or 12 steps, depending how it's broken down. But for us, it is very clear. It's out of ignorance. And actually, out of ignorance, start to come consciousness. And consciousness needs some matter to reflect on or to respond to, and to condition things. Then matter appears, and out of matter, a mind and matter appear, and out of matter a body appear. So all this is kind of a crumbling down concentration of elements that start to create matter. First, you can be a wise energy drifting in space, but out of ignorance, one starts to develop these addictions, and you have to be addicted to something, and that starts to create tension, heat, and that is the factor that starts to put matter together, and matter gets created. And once matter is created, then the senses get created. And again, what is addiction? Addiction is the sensation that comes when our senses get to respond to certain stimuli. And so that's why all of this is linked to suffering and misery. Ignorance is also non-understanding. So from non-understanding, one develops fear. Fear develops aggressivity, tension, and tension, aggressivity develop anger, fighting spirit, and then one starts to fight against life, against what is. At the same time as one has developed suffering or pain. And addiction is suffering, addiction is pain. And then one starts to resist and to fight against it out of ignorance, out of misunderstanding of what's going on. And that creates more and more tension. And that's what starts to create all the knots in the body, all the tension, all the knots. And that's what the body is made of. All that structure, it is tense, tied together energy, which ultimately is anger, which is pain and suffering. Yes, one can say, but people can be happy in between, supposedly happy, by laughing. But it's just that once in a while, when there's an overflow, they need to be like a little release. But as we know, it all works up and down, up and down, up and down, which is suffering and misery. There's no balance, no constant peace and harmony and happiness. So yes, that takes a lot to understand that, and that takes a lot of practice. Again, the dropping of that ego I, to see beyond that, to see beyond all the nice stories and fairy tales that one has developed since they were born, and not realizing that from the moment one is born, one develops attachment, one develops addiction to satisfying the five physical senses from the outside world. And it's all about, yes, open to the outside, but just to get addicted to that outside, to what one sees, what smells, what one hears, what one tastes, and the touches, the body contacts. And over time, then the mind starts to develop, of course, its own addiction, and it starts to develop its own thought of what one calls reflection. Then one starts to develop memory, and one starts to develop wishes and desire for the future. Then one starts to have that very unbalanced mind that likes to live in the past, memory, or what could have been different, and the future, what is not yet but wish to be. It's all attachment, it's all addiction. So the five senses want you to be addicted, to give them, to feed them with sensations, and then you develop always an opinion on those sensations, which create the mind's thoughts. And all this is what makes one unbalanced, so conditioned by the outside world, by the material world, by the matter. So once one understands that and can start to detach from that I, believing that this is I, this is me, realize that every matter, mine included, is conditioned. It's a conditioning, although everything is ephemeral and transient at the same time. Then suddenly one starts to understand what life is about, and that it's the karma that has been carrying on from life to life to life. All these have been existing for thousands of lives and being reinforced and strengthened. So until one makes that shift of understanding, truly understanding, proper understanding out of experience, not in theory, not in philosophical concept, but from the experience of this is not me, this is no I, this is nothing, all of this is transient, it's just energy moving around, interacting with each other, and nothing else. Then one starts to transcend, to be able to transcend life and understand what is beyond it. And then the misery and the suffering ends because one has cut off the root of attachment, desire, of addiction.